Our next speaker is equally esteemed. This is Jack Parsons, an award-winning young entrepreneur, public speaker, spoken at like 1,000 engagements, he was telling me before, and subject matter expert on youth, known as the UK's Chief Youth Officer. Jack is currently the CEO of the Youth Group, which is building the world's largest, most connected marketplace and community for young people with one aim: to help improve the odds for young people across the world to achieve their full potential in work. On top of running the Youth Group, Jack advises a number of organizations and figureheads. Jack will be joined on stage by Isabella Mascarenhas, Vice President of RS Grassroots Education, for a fireside-style chat. Please make some noise for Jack and Isabella.
Hello, lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for coming today. Jack, so you have a pretty inspirational story yourself. Can you tell us a bit about your journey coming up and how it inspired you to start the youth group?
So the reason why I am here today doing what I do is I grew up never loved. I grew up in a council estate. My mum was an alcoholic and she was an abusive alcoholic. I wake up every morning with burns down my legs, remembering going home, feeling lost, lonely, and in fear. And I want no young person to ever feel unloved. So I've dedicated my 20s to try my best. I fail every day. We get things wrong all the time, and we've been on a massive journey to make a difference to young people in the UK and globally. So that's where it's all started, and we've put over 95,000 young people into work. We've got a community of 1.7 million young people, and we work with fantastic partners like RS to make a real difference to young people.
So how does that look? So if anyone else in the audience who's in a business that wants to do more to support young people, what sort of programs do you run and how can they get involved?
So I talk about compromise. You have to meet the young person in the middle. And to meet the young person in the middle, companies have to come out of their towers. Come grassroots, get real, and make a difference. So we run a number of different programs. So to work with the youth group, you have to become a youth verified company. And this is taking a company through a process which has been built with McKinsey and Company on how diverse is that company? What are they actually doing? Or is it a tick box? For instance, SR becoming RS, sorry, my dyslexic. RS.
That's the dyslexia coming out. That's another part of the interesting story.
Becoming youth verified. You meaningfully want to make a difference. You meaningfully invest resources, time and energy to want to make a difference. And that's where it all starts. Then it goes on to mentoring. So we've mentored over 19,000 young people. We've seen young people who have been unemployed for 2 years come onto our mentoring program, do 6 micro mentoring sessions and go in to get work. Because it's all about navigation. The fantastic speakers before all talked about navigation. How can we help young people navigate? How can we have meaningful work experience? How can we help young people to co-create in a meaningful way? And for me, we have to do more. I talk about chaos with order. And chaos with order is really important. But my question, I've got a question, because I know this is kind of a co-question panel, is why do you invest so much time, energy and resource in putting on fantastic days like Reflect?
Well, so our team is the dedicated education team at RS. We know that there are huge imbalances in representation in engineering and technology. So partners like the IET and AFBE are hugely valuable because they've done deep research into this. There's an awful lot of focus on the gender imbalance in engineering and technology, and there were some stats touted at the beginning, but there's not so much focus on the ethnicity imbalance. And as George said in his opening piece, you know, engineering and technology serves everybody in society. It's supposed to. How do you make sure that you're actually creating technologies that work for everybody in society if you don't have them involved in that process of creating them? It's so important. And we know that that's a problem later on in the engineering career, but how do you fix that if you don't make sure that you're bringing diverse young people into it to fix it in the future? So for us, that a lot of what we do in our education work is fiercely underpinned by diversity and inclusion, because you have to let people know, as Hannah said, if you can see it, you can be it. There are people like you that are doing this, that are absolutely smashing it in their field, and there's a space for you to do the same. So for us, it's just, it's part of our purpose and our meaning at RS to make young people know that you can do this. This is for you.
Absolutely. And I say, I recently learned that you only need one. You only need to start with one. You only need one friend to say, you know what, I'm a friend of yours at school. You only need one colleague in work to say, I got your back. And you only need one event to start with to make a difference. So I use you only need one. And that's my advice to businesses. Start with one and build on it.
It's the ripple effect. I love that. It's so true. And when we first started Reflect in 2019, it was one of my little crazy ideas that my amazing team who do all the work in the background made happen. And it's the ripple effect, right? That one little drop, we ended up with a whole host of incredible speakers who became, as I refer to it, part of the Reflect family. And they're now coming back year on year. They're involved year on year. They're spreading it to their networks. They're bringing people with them. And that's really important in building that community. So your community, what are the different specific things that you do for different elements of it? Because as Hannah said, you know, that the one fix-all isn't going to work for everybody. So how do you kind of create space for the different groups and needs that you have in that huge 1.7 million community you have?
So we've tried the one fit all when I had spots on my face and I was really young and it didn't work. And we focus on stage, not age. So every young person is at a different stage. It might be, I can't write a CV. I don't have the engineering skills that I need to thrive. I've never walked into a work experience placement. So what we do is we bracket young people and put them into groups and tribes based on their stage of life. So what are they trying to overcome? Where do they want to be? And what they're trying to do. And that is how we break down our community. Then what we do, we focus on those who need it most. So you've got your stage, but how much do you need it? So if you've come from a privileged background, if you come from a really good school, yes, you need an opportunity, but not over young Charlie who's from East London, who's not getting an opportunity and wants to get into engineering. So then what we do, we flip it. So you might have the best degree, right, you are a category 4, you're not a category 1. Right. And we put the young people that have so much passion and energy and hope, and they come from loving backgrounds, and some don't, to help them thrive. Yet again, it only takes one opportunity, one person to say, I'll give you an opportunity, or come into an interview, or come and spend some time with us learning how to do computer science. It only takes one teacher to believe in you.
Who was that person for you? There must have been someone like that for you, right?
Growing up, they say never meet your role models. I met my role model, and unfortunately it didn't turn out well. And that my only role model, because I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to make a difference, was Lord Sugar. And I met him and I literally nearly cried because he tried to be too aggressive. But my role models today are not my role models, but my real models. Our conversations at 8 p.m. on a Thursday evening talking about how we make a difference to youth. The fantastic guys who have come up here today, I've learned. I try and go into every room. Can I learn? This is the business landscape. We only all know this much, and I know this much. So today, everyone here, I know that sounds cliche, but I believe that you should look for a real model every day. Someone who's doing something, someone who can actually help you. Yeah? My mum, the only thing that my mum used to say, one mouth, two ears for a reason, Jack.
Yes,
and go into the room to learn. And I think that's where we need to break the silo more. Because if we all come together, we can have half a chance of making a difference. We can't do it alone. You can't govern alone.
Love that. What would your closing remarks be for the audience here who want to work with young people through their businesses?
Don't overcomplicate it. Do something small. If you can't get your businesses and the stakeholders on board, do it yourself. Find a program. Go and do something to mentor. Use that as a case study and a proof point. Take it back in, put it on a big presentation, and show them how it works.
Thank you so much. Hope you learnt something from the amazing Jack Parsons.
Right.